It's another one, myself, SK Vibemaker, Rinse FM, Rinse TV, and we bring through the best special guests. We are not changing tradition anytime soon. We got Big Sean in the building, man.
What up, though?
How you doing? I know this is a place that you come to regular. So,
yeah, for sure. I love it.
It's not foreign land to you.
No, it's not that foreign anymore. You know, I love it though. Every time it feels special. Never gets old.
And the good thing about you as well, I followed your career. You seem like you're in an ascendancy. Dark Sky Paradise is the album that a lot of people say was their favorite. Do you know what I mean? So how does it feel for you?
Yeah, it was my favorite.
Yeah?
I mean, up until this one, yeah. It was, I cracked the code on Dark Sky Paradise. So just like, you know, it was like the first album that I fully recorded in the studio I built in my house. It was the first time where I cut out all the excess, you know. I cut off all the unnecessary opinions and relying on other people for certain things. Like I just kind of like bossed up and listened to myself, follow my gut, you know, and it paid off tremendously for me. So that's kind of like I feel like Dark Sky Paradise is gonna be the blueprint and foundation for a lot of my albums to come.
Onwards.
You know what I mean? But this is definitely a progression from Dark Sky. So I'm just, you know, if people like Dark Sky Paradise, then I do think that they'll
like this.
They'll love this one.
So what, same approach? Was it like just in the studio, locking yourself off from everybody as well?
I mean, it wasn't. I just sold the house that I recorded all this stuff in. Like I just sold the house that I recorded Dark Sky Paradise 2088 and a lot of I Decided, but just because I feel like I got all the inspiration out of that crib. But I feel like I also recorded a lot of this on the road. So like songs like Bounce Back, that was like recorded in London. You know what I mean? And
for real?
Yeah.
In London? So you'd be sneaking in here sometimes, not many people.
Well, I was over here already. I was doing Wireless Festival here. I was doing V Festival, and I performed at Wembley Stadium with Rihanna. So I was over here all the time. So we was in the studio over at Metropolis. Yeah,
Does it make much of a difference, like, you know, when you recorded a different country and in London in particular?
Well, I guess it does. You know, I've had nothing but good times in London. I also recorded Mercy here, the Good Music Family, and Click, the chorus for Click I came up with in London. So it's something about something inspirational about London for me. So, yeah, but that's where the majority of the album got made, like in that house, and also like a lot of it got made on the road.
So this is the solo tour, which is kicking off in March, right?
Yes, sir.
This is
March. Yeah, that's
This is your first solo tour ever?
Not the first one, but it's one of the. I haven't been on a solo tour in a long time, so it only makes sense to go out now.
It's about time. 10 years in the game, still under 30. I don't think a lot of people actually recognize that when you got into the game and you started putting out mixtapes that you was very young.
Definitely was. Yeah, I'm still 28, so I was definitely 10 years ago putting out mixtapes. You know, it's around the time I put my first one out, or it's actually been like 9 years or something like that. Not 10 quite, but basically, you know, I've been rapping since I was 12 though. So
how does it feel to be 10 years deep in the game?
Or maybe even before 12. It feels good. It feels right. You know what I mean? It feels like I'm supposed to be here. It feels like I got a lot more to prove and a lot more to do though. So that's why I'm not satisfied yet.
So I decided we're hearing this a soulful album, a conceptual album. Is that true to the mark?
It definitely is conceptual. It's a more of a loose narrative. But it's just something. It was so true to me. You know, the concept that it didn't feel like I was like stretching, trying to make a concept album, because it's really just how I feel. So it was just like put my life into it. And I don't want to explain it too much, but when people hear it, they'll understand it. Even when you see the cover of the album, it's like you see like a younger me and you see the older version of me. And you know, the story is awesome. But it's just real life though.
I heard that you was inspired by Berry Gordy, a very inspirational, you know what I mean, mogul in the game, Motown, everything.
He's the mogul. He's the don of it. You know what I mean?
One of the early guys.
I mean, yeah, and that was the biggest musical air ever, man. Just flat out. You know, even bigger than the era we're in. I don't even think it can be something as revolutionary as that.
Was there a conversation that you had with him?
I told him something like that before. Like, I just shook his hand saying, like, man, it's an honor. Because all I kept thinking about was Stevie Wonder and Marvin Gaye and Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5 and Diana Ross and Smokey and the Isley Brothers.
Legends.
Yeah.
Very important era.
Legends. They like the blueprint. It was the Beatles was singing their songs. I mean, the Beatles were singing Motown songs too, you know? Like, they inspired everybody.
I decided the 4th studio album about to be released. What can you tell us about the album that people probably didn't know about the album?
I don't know. All I want to tell them is just that it's definitely worth a listen, you know? And I pride myself in putting all I got into my work. And I pride myself in the progression I always hear from last year to this year and so on and so forth. So I just hope people take the time out. You know, it's definitely worth the listen. I strongly feel that.
We heard Moves, and you was flowing on that. And you was busting the dance moves in the video as well. I mean, like, was this natural dance moves?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah?
It was just fun, man. It was like that video. Shout out to my bro Mike Carson who directed it. It's my creative director too. We were just all having fun, man. Just dancing going on. You know, people around. It's funny. Every time I see that video, you know, it's just me up there by myself. But when I always think of the other side of the camera of what was going on at that time, and there was so many people just watching me, and like my brother was there, and like friends were there, and like just people, a whole bunch of people were there. And but when you look at it, it's just me on camera, you know. But it was a lot of people. So every time I see that video, even though it's just me, I always like see a lot of more people that were there than just myself. That's kind of weird, but. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, in no more interviews, you said something about people flying like they're having an asthma attack. And I think you're one of those rappers that masters the art of rapping fast with the flows, having the clarity and the content. Is that something that you've focused on throughout your career?
Yeah, it is. It is something I focused on. To just make sure you say something with it, you know? I remember No ID was telling me that one day. He was like, man, you're real. He was like, what makes you unique to me is that, like, you know, a lot of people could do fast flows, but he was like, a lot of people can't say much in those flows. And I remember just being, you know, honored that he said something like that.
It's good. It's a good ambassador to have behind you, man. Someone that's like listening to your music, giving you some advice. No ID.
Yo, yeah, No ID. He's the reason that you know, he produced my first single and. He produced a lot of things for me, so. He
was heavily involved in the 2088 project, right?
Yeah, he was, yeah.
And we hear that we're going to get like a part 2 to that project. Is that going to happen? 2017 maybe?
Yeah, as of now, yeah.
That's really going to happen?
Yes, that's happening.
Oh, you recording it?
Yeah.
And we're going to get a short movie with it as well?
Well, I don't know about that. It's definitely in the works though.
Now bounce back, man. You bounce back in a big way, something for the clubs, something which has made a big impact as well.
Yeah.
You took an L, but you bounced back. I mean, like, you know, talk to us about the making of this track.
Real song. Actually, Jeremih was one of the people who was in the studio writing that helped come up with the concept. It was like a little different, but he was one of the people in there that had the idea, and then I obviously progressed the idea way more. But so I definitely gotta like show love to Jeremih because he's definitely a part of that song, even though he isn't necessarily on there, you know. So I make a lot of music with him though. Like I did that Living Single with him, and he's also on the intro of the album. So I think he's one of the most talented musicians right now.
So Jeremih's involvement, that explains Hitmaker, aka Young Berg's involvement.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
The track, right?
Exactly, yeah. So yeah, those are all good dudes though. And Berg, you know, Jeremih, their whole team. And but it wasn't how like when they brought it to me, like it definitely got produced up, and the whole tone of the song changed because, you know, I made it more about like, if you're a real one, you know how to bounce back. You know, I think that's really key. I think that's something that people need, especially after 2016, man. I was over here when all the bombings was going on, just in Europe and the UK and you know, in America. We got a new president now. It's just like we got to bounce back, feel me? So I feel like it was necessary for the times that we're going through and a snapshot of what's going on. And I also know what it's like. I feel like that's the underdog story. I know what it's like to feel, I know what it's like to feel and know your potential on the inside and people not be able to see that and you wanting to get that out, you know? So it's definitely a song for all the underdogs and people feeling like that, you know, it's go time. It's time to turn into the big dog. It's time to dominate at what you do.
That inspirational music.
Yeah, I guess you can call it inspirational.
It's been another big one. Myself, SK Vibemaker for Rinse TV with Big Sean, man. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me, big dog. You know what I mean? It's always a pleasure seeing you, you know, coming out, showing that love. I appreciate it. I'm going to always fall through in London. And I'm going to kick it with y'all next time, all right?